So Fortune Island's been out for around a week now. People are coming up to the end of the expansion, you know, some people have already finished it, some people are kind of coming up to that period where they're kind of getting around the main events in the game. I am personally 9,000 influence away from the end game in Fortune Island. I've got one of the treasure things to find, but I'm kind of slowly making my way through it. So this isn't going to be my final impressions, it's just going to be a few things which I've kind of found about, you know, Fortune Island as I've been playing it, the weak points of the actual expansion, what I think of it so far, and if I think you should buy it, you know, as of now. Obviously I haven't finished it yet, I'm still a little bit away from finishing it, but I'm pretty much done. I don't feel like I'm going to have much more to say after this, so we're going to talk about the problems with it, we're going to talk about the good things with it. I've been trying to, you know, keep up to date with like Forza Reddit posts and, you know, comment sections to see what you guys have been thinking of the expansion, so we're going to talk a bit about that in this video as well. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get straight into this. So as mentioned earlier, this expansion has been a very mixed bag. A few people have complained about the actual expansion being too short, which I can definitely see. Some people have complained about the multiplayer not being vast enough in this mode, even though you still have Forza Live, you won't have any PvP events as such in this area, so there is still multiplayer. You can still race other people in, you know, the certain events using Forza blueprints, but there's no like ranked PvP or normal PvP on Fortune Island. That will all stay in the mainland. A lot of people have said it's small. For me, that's not really a particularly big issue because it's the biggest one that we've had so far. I don't think it has as much replay value as saying something like Hot Wheels, but I don't think the Hot Wheels expansion really did much to keep people playing either. So we're going to talk about what I think is the biggest problem out of all of these, and that is the length. I haven't had much time recently. You guys have probably heard me say this so many times with the university and stuff. I've been really busy. I'm now freer, which is good, but I haven't had much time to play through this expansion. But you may have caught earlier, I'm only 9,000 influence away from the end of this expansion. That's really surprising to me because I haven't really been playing this expansion to finish it. I've just been playing to enjoy it and to make the most of, you know, what is there on offer. I haven't really been doing it in a kind of like a completionist kind of way. Once I finish the main campaign, I'm probably going to go and 3-star all of the skill challenges and do all of that kind of thing, you know, max out all of the levels and stuff, and I'm probably going to go through that, you know, in my own time. But other than that, there's really not much to do in this expansion. I'd love to sit here and say that there's, you know, like ends and ends of content, but there really isn't. Once you finish the main races, there's not really a main reason to come back to this island other than if you're going to do free roaming with friends. Once I finish this expansion, once I max out all the stars and do all the treasures and all that kind of stuff, there's no real reason for me to come back to Fortune Island unless I'm drifting. There needs to be more reason to come back. It would be cool if they had Forzathon lives and Forzathon events that are exclusive to the island specifically and have island, you know, specific rewards, but then you have the problem of segmenting the player base because obviously this is a paid expansion. They put themselves in a very weird position. This expansion had to be amazing, otherwise it's one of those things, obviously because you're segmenting the player base, you're going to be missing people out on certain things. I think overall it's a really good expansion. If you play a lot of Horizon, you're really going to enjoy it. But I can definitely see the argument for saying someone, you know, doesn't really find enough value in it just because the campaign isn't long enough and maybe the rewards aren't big enough, maybe there isn't enough new cars. I can completely understand why that would be a concern for someone. Multiplayer, having all these roads, you know, the route creator stuff, but you know, there's no ranked PvP or any PvP period on the actual map. It's kind of annoying because I would kind of hope that, you know, they would give this or at least the routes, they'd give the routes for free in normal ranked play or normal PvP play to maybe entice people into buying the actual expansion itself. It would be really cool if we saw, you know, Fortune Island, you know, PvP events in unranked PvP and ranked PvP, you know, even for those people that don't actually have Fortune Island, just so people, you know, can actually make use of this new map. And if you enjoy, you know, the road you're racing on and stuff, then maybe buy the expansion if you enjoy it. I think it would be a really cool idea to, you know, get more people involved and get more people playing the expansion, and I think overall that would be definitely something which I would like to see in the future. I'm not going to talk too much about the cars. The cars are kind of there. If you like any of the cars that are in the expansion, then that's there. I'm not going to spoil it either, but there is quite a few cool cars in this expansion, and I'm just going to leave that there. Seasonal events do carry over to the island though, which is really cool. So now, as well as the main seasonal events on the main island, you're also going to have them on Fortune Island, and I think on Fortune Island they're pretty much only wheel spin rewards. You're not going to get anything specific, but there's still still, you know, more championships to do, more things to keep you busy with until, you know, the next Forza comes or something across those lines. I can definitely see why people are frustrated with this expansion. There's definitely things which I do think are frustrating, like the whole thing with Drift Club 2.0, really disappointing. Why didn't they just add an actual drift mode instead? It just kind of baffles my mind. Even with some of the drift zones, they're really, really long. Why not just add a drift mode and completely fix that problem? The thing with the length, the thing with the multiplayer, I completely understand how that would be annoying, but if you bought the Ultimate Edition, I can see, you know, you being very pleased with this product if you like Forza. If you play a lot of Forza generally, it's more roads to drive with friends or without, so in that regard, that's really cool. And I will still stand here and say that these are some of the best drifting roads and best dirt racing roads I have seen in a Forza game, period. It's really, really cool to see what they've, you know, come up with. But I think with Playground as a whole, they have a way too much polish on the expansions, and they just don't really have much lasting quality or, you know, something to make me come back to. Whenever I go back onto Horizon 3, I never really went back to the Hot Wheels expansion, which was really weird because I really enjoyed that expansion. I think once I finish this, there's not going to be much to bring me back to this. Same with Storm Island, etc, etc. Overall, it's really polished, really well made, but I just think there's a bit of something lacking. It's a bit dull in many regards. I get excited to seeing what the next one is. It would be really cool if it was like London, and if they just did like that kind of like city area, and they made a whole city really, really dense and stuff. That would be really cool. But I'm looking forward to seeing what the next expansion has to hold. I just really hope a drift mode comes soon enough, because, you know, this is it's a bit of a tease with how big the drift zones are right now. I just want to see a mode dedicated to drifting, especially with all the drift cars and stuff. I want to see some type of implementation with, you know, the free player base and this expansion. I want to see some events come to PvP using the island for people who haven't played for the game or paid for the expansion. That would be really cool, especially with the Xbox Game Pass and stuff. I think that would be a no-brainer. Overall, that pretty much wraps up my thoughts of Fortune Island so far. Obviously, I'm going to finish it in my own time, but I think overall, I don't think my opinions are going to change too much, so I'm probably going to leave it there. What do you guys think of Fortune Island? What do you think of the problems? What do you think of the good things? I've tried to kind of keep this a very weighted approach. Look at the good points, look at the bad points. I don't regret, you know, playing this and, you know, investing time into Forza still. I think this is a very solid expansion. It's more solid than any other racing game, you know, DLC that's come out in the past 6 months. And I think overall, it's very, very exciting times for Forza, to be honest. Even this with the photo mode, obviously getting updates, with ranked PvP being looked at and stuff. It's a very, very exciting time to be a Forza fan, and I think that's the most important thing. So that being said, if you guys enjoyed, if you did, make sure to go ahead and hit the like, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. You guys have been awesome. Stay safe and peace.